Hello everybody, it's ProfRich, and today I'm going to talk about how to fail at learning English. Number 1, expecting to hear words. We don't speak in words. It might seem like we speak in words, but we don't. We speak in phrases. Our mind thinks of a phrase, supplies the phrase automatically, and the mouth utters the phrase. We don't speak in words. We don't think about each word and then say every word. If you expect to hear words, you're gonna be disappointed and you're not gonna understand. You have to listen for phrases, listen for the stress, listen for the content words, but overall, get a feel for those phrases. Would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a? Would you like a? Would you like a? Would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a? Would you like a cup of tea? Notice I say it like one thing. It's a phrase. Would you like a cup of tea? Would you like a beer? Would you like to go to the park? Number 2, studying with flashcards. Studying with flashcards is brilliant for practicing a vocabulary exam next week, but it's awful for learning new vocabulary. It's not quite as bad as doing nothing, but it's basically one step up from that. Now, it does actually work better for kids than for adults, so I can kind of understand using it with kids. But if you're an adult studying a language, flashcards is probably not the way to go. Number 3, ignoring context. Context is so damn important when it comes to communication and language. People really obsess about, oh, what's the meaning of this word in the dictionary? Well, the thing is, that word can have so many different meanings depending on the context. It can even have meanings which aren't in the dictionary depending on the context. Context is about 90% of meaning, and the actual content of that particular item, that's maybe 10%. We need always to know the context. It's not a question of, oh, what does this word mean? No. What does this word mean in this context? Because most likely that word has many meanings, many connotations, and it depends very much on not only the words around it, but the situation. What's happening? If I say fire in a theatre, then what does that mean? If I say fire on a military battlefield, what does that mean? If I say fire when I'm trying to survive in the wilderness and I have 2 rocks and some wood and I'm making a fire, what does that mean? Context is key. And all great language learners understand that. Number 4, expecting rules. The thing about languages are that they're more of an art than a science. They're a natural flowing thing that kind of comes into existence and changes constantly, and all kinds of things happen with it, and they have all these different varieties, and we sort of pretend that there's such a thing as a standard. And that's useful, but it isn't reality. And what you'll find is that there is no rule which is never broken when it comes to languages. Have you ever learned that every verb in English needs a subject? It's the most fundamental rule of English grammar. And yet, study more. Where's the subject? You'll always find an exception to whatever rule you want to make up in English. Rules can be useful. Grammar can be useful, but don't over-rely on it. Don't freak out when you see an exception, and certainly don't try to tell someone else that they're saying something the wrong way because it doesn't meet your imagined rules. Number 5. Reading when you hate reading, or doing something you hate in your own language in order to learn a new language. I don't really understand why so many language learners come to learn a language and then ask to do things that they hate. Teacher, can you recommend what books I should read? Should I be reading books, teacher? Well, do you like reading books? No. Then why do you think you're going to like reading books in a foreign language? This goes against everything I recommend about learning a language, because that's going to make you not like English, and that is a big problem. Number 6, looking for the magic pill. We've all been there. I've been there as well. When I was learning Spanish, when I started learning at 26, learning Spanish, I wanted the secret 6-month way of just mastering the language. There's no trick, there's no quick fix. Many students ask me, how do I speak English? How do I learn to speak English? These kind of very simple questions over and over as if there's a magic answer. The answer is that you work on your English for years. So what you need is you need to enjoy the process. There's no quick fix. There's no magic pill. There are exceptional people, polyglots. These people are probably about 1 in a million, and they're a very specific kind of person who almost becomes obsessed with learning. And when they learn a new language, they work on it for maybe 6 or 7 hours a day, and they work on it really hardcore. And I mean doing things like you have the ancient Greek textbook and you have a notepad and you translate the ancient Greek into English using a dictionary, and you do that for 7 hours a day, every day for 6 months. And that's what these kind of people do, and they'll do that and maybe say the words out loud while they do it, or they'll do a very extreme version of shadowing where they're listening to a speaker in the other language and saying it and at the same time reading a script. These people tend to be professors of linguistics at certain universities. They're very exceptional individuals, and you're not one of them, and I'm not one of them. And that's the case. If you were one of them, you wouldn't be watching this video, because it's not the kind of thing that someone like that does. They tend to be very obsessive about learning and very, very intense, and they have a very particular kind of mind. And in fact, using someone like that as a model can be damaging, because you try to do it their way, and what happens is you get sick to death of trying to learn the language, and then you give up and you stop, and that's it. So don't make that mistake, and don't fall for the marketing hype. Learn English in 3 months. That's absolute nonsense. Number 7. Learning English but hating English. Yeah, this is a bit of a weird one. You do get this. You get students who sort of are learning English for their work, but they have like a problem with English. They don't like that English is the world language. They don't particularly like English people, and I don't really understand it, and I don't know how to help someone in that situation, to be honest with you. I suppose you could find an international language teacher instead who teaches international English and maybe do it that way in a functional way. But what I've found in my experience is that the people who are really interested in the United States or in Britain are actually the people who learn the language best. And what I mean is the people who are interested in the culture and the place and the history and all these things about the place of the language, they are the people who will learn English the best, the Anglophiles. Are you enjoying the video so far? If so, give us a like and comment down below. Number 8. Treating English like maths instead of music. So there's a lot of students and learners who come along and they ask for 1 class a week, 1 hour a week, and that's all the English they do. Now, if this was maths class, that might work, because every week you sort of learn something new and then do some homework and it goes in your mind and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, English is not like that. English is not just knowledge, it's a skill. It requires practical elements, and anything that's a skill that requires practical elements, you need more than once a week. Imagine that you were learning to play the guitar. You can't play the guitar once a week and expect to make much progress at all. So you need to learn the theory, but you need the practice as well. 1 class a week isn't enough unless you have things going on in your life where you can practice English in the real world. So then you go to class and get your theory and a bit of practice, and you go to your life and you practice, practice, practice. You must treat English like a skill that you have to practice, and also knowledge that you need to learn. Number 9. Can't do 9. Getting a bad teacher. Quite rightly, the language learning industry has a bad reputation. There are many, many, many unqualified teachers out there. There are many teachers out there who don't care. They don't care about you. They are just native speakers who want an easy job, or they want to travel, and they get off the plane, they dress up and look all nice, and they get a job in a language school with minimal or no qualifications. This is a big problem in the language learning industry. And it's quite difficult for an unexperienced student to realize that they have a bad teacher, because the teacher might be friendly, they might be energetic, they might even know a bit of grammar, but that doesn't mean that they're teaching you effectively. Finding out if someone's a good teacher is quite difficult. You can look at qualifications and that can help. You can look at experience and that can help. You can check your progress independently and that can help. But there's no easy answer to this one. You just have to watch out. There's a lot of pirates and cowboys out there in the language learning industry. I'm not necessarily saying everyone needs to go and study at the British Council. In fact, I've known some teachers at the British Council who aren't good teachers. And I've known some teachers in the tin pot, corner store, cheap academy on the corner who were fantastic teachers. So still, there's no necessary guarantee of quality depending on the institution. You just have to be careful and ask yourself, what am I learning? Do I like my teacher because they're friendly and nice? Or do I know that they're a good teacher? What progress have I made from point A to point B? Now, you need to be realistic about progress. Progress in language learning is measured in months, not weeks. So in 3 months, what progress have you made? Can you measure that? Record yourself at the start, and 3 months later, record yourself again and compare. If you're doing the same task, even better. Do you use different vocabulary? Have you made some improvements in your pronunciation? These are the kind of things to ask. And finally, number 10, not understanding accuracy versus fluency. So whenever we're speaking, we need to make a decision about whether we're more interested now in accuracy or fluency. The reality is, in the real world, the majority of the time, fluency is king. In most situations in the real world, you need to prioritize fluency. Fluency is getting ideas from your head to come out your mouth in a comprehensible way so other people can understand your ideas. And the quicker you do that, the better your fluency. Accuracy is getting your prepositions right, using the correct form of the verb, making sure that you don't make that pronunciation mistake that you've made thousands of times. There is a place for accuracy. Good language learners need to have self-reflection. You need to think back to that conversation where you made a mistake and think, oh, I made a mistake. What's the correct word to use there? And then the next time you're speaking, it's great if you can have some self-monitoring and you go, and then you correct yourself. And that's part of a process of improving your accuracy. So there is a place for accuracy and there is a place for fluency. And we need to control this. We need to decide, when do I need to be more fluent and when do I have the opportunity to reflect and improve my accuracy? If you go too far in either of these directions, it creates a problem. If you go too far into accuracy, it damages your speed of speech, it damages your fluency, and you sort of get stuck. And if you go too far into fluency, then you never fix your errors, you never improve your vocabulary, and your English doesn't get any better. So there's a definite balance to be had, but knowing about this helps you to make those decisions. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Smash that like button, comment down below, and I will catch you later.